I'm just a human being with a soul. I'm just kidding. I got my soul surgically removed.
Hello, and welcome back to A Bit Fruity. Today, we have a little bit of a different show. This is not usually an interview podcast. It's usually a culture and political analysis podcast, but I recently got to know someone who really exists at the center of so many conversations that we have on this podcast, but who we have yet to hear from on the Fruity podcast mic. And so I thought, now's the time.
I have invaded Matt's place of residence.
Welcome to the podcast and welcome to my apartment, Vivian Jenna Wilson. Vivian, you have had a whirlwind few months.
I have, yes.
Sort of into public figurehood, into this like very strange internet spotlight, which I'm like sort of familiar with, but not nearly probably the way that you are at this point. And I'm just curious, like, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing good. It's definitely like a lot to get used to all at once. Because it was very much, in my specific instance, it was like there was no training wheels. It was 0 to 100. So it's a bit of a struggle to get like acclimated to it. But obviously, I'm very grateful for all the support and love I've received. And this is just such a unique experience. And I want to enjoy it and like live life to the fullest.
You're giving your
that was the most pageant.
You were giving your pageant answer.
Oh, I'm done. Hi, thank you.
Do you want world peace?
God. And when I'm crowned the queen, I'll fight hard for world peace. Thank you. This moment means so much to me. I keep getting those fucking cheer videos on my TikTok.
I mean, it's an earnest podcast, but it's not that earnest.
Oh, girl.
That was like real pageant material.
That was real pageant material. That was my honest answer. I'm sorry. Damn.
Well, but it really has come at you so quickly. Vivian got to my apartment a little while ago and we've just been having coffee and chatting it up. It's a really rainy day here in New York.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about how you went from like 22 followers on Threads one day to it just like ballooning.
It ballooned up. Yeah, immediately. It went from like literally 22 followers where I was shitposting about K-pop and like chatting with the gaggle of other trans people on a dead app to like 60,000 followers or something like that in the course of one night. It was like nothing. And then, Jamie Lee Curtis just like knows who you are now. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of coconut.
And then I feel like there's also like coverage of the things that you put out on Threads.
Yeah, especially Pink News. I literally will like post anything on Threads and there'll be like an article about it the next day.
I mean, I'm so curious because like as someone who works like on the internet and like I do this podcast for a job and whatever, like everything happened pretty slowly. Like I've been doing this for like 6 years and like I've had time to incrementally get used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, just a few months ago, you were a very, very private person.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're less so.
It was crazy. I mean, I've always been like a pretty, I don't know if ostentatious is the right word. It's very SATs. But I've always been like a very kind of like extra person. Not necessarily extroverted. More so now, obviously. You kind of have to be. But I was kind of like overly charismatic, enthusiastic. I was kind of like, I had a bit of Thorgy Thor situation where like, if there was something I liked doing, it was like, wow, you guys were gonna do it. I don't know what the fuck that voice was.
It was a little toad.
Wow, we're gonna save the castle. I don't know.
I'm just curious if it's been overwhelming or how you're dealing with it.
Like it has very much so been overwhelming, but like I am doing everything I can to not be overwhelmed and just be whelmed.
I was also curious, like, what made you decide to not like step into this role? There's not really a role, but like spite.
Okay, so the reason I got famous, for those of you who don't know, other than the nepotism, the reason the nepotism happened, Jordan Peterson was on a podcast with someone, and obviously that's the fucking thing where my son, Savior, he's dead. And Jordan Peterson was like, oh my God. I don't know why I'm giving the British accent.
It's honestly really good.
I think it's just way more funny that way.
I think you're making Jordan Peterson sound like a little bit nicer than he actually sounds.
I'm making him sound like way hotter than
he's like, wow. Like, I think Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. I feel like he can. No, that's too nasally. Hold on. He has this kind of like overly gravelly voice. Wow, that happened to your child.
Like,
that's actually accurate. That's like Toad and Jordan Peterson. What is with the Toad voices today?
Yeah.
But Jordan Peterson was on this podcast and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that your child is dead. And I was like, just over there in the corner of literally in my small fucking apartment in Tokyo, going to college. And I was like, did this bitch just try to come for me? Mm-hmm. And I was like, no. Mm-hmm. No, I was literally like, hell fucking no. I am not about to let this bitch come for me and have that just slide. So I had my little Threads response and it went mega coconuts viral. I keep saying mega coconuts. I stole that from Natalie Wynn. I'm so sorry.
I also say coconuts and bananas all the time because of Natalie Wynn.
She has like infested trans vocabulary and gay vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like infested.
It's super mega fucking coconuts.
It's super mega fucking coconuts.
So you hear this like dumb podcast.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope, I want to have a voice in this.
I literally saw it. I woke up. I woke up to this. This is the first thing I experienced that day. Mm-hmm. Imagine the sun rising. You're like, being like, oh my God, I'm ready for another day. It was a week before finals week, so I should have been studying, but I was like fucking around. Mm-hmm. And by fucking around, I mean rotting in my apartment, watching TikToks and like vibing. Then I take my little phone. I open the phone. I see a text from my aunt. I open the text.
I love the way you're telling this.
Yes. And she's like, this bitch just tried to come for me. For you. And I was like, gasp. Double gasp. This is not how it happened at all.
I love the like telenovelification of this family drama.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love the I think everyone should telenovelize everything. I think it's more fun. I mean, influencers basically do that. I'm just being honest. I saw the clip and Jordan Peterson was like, he's dead. So the first thing I do is I text my mom and I'm like, I can't let this bitch get to me. Mm-hmm. I must retaliate. I'm so sorry, mother. I'm going into, I don't know what the fuck this bit is. I texted my mom. I'm just going to do normal voice now. So sorry.
Sure.
I texted my mom. I'm like, I'm going to go public. Mm-hmm. So sorry. You cannot stop me. And at that point, she was kind of just like, yeah, I trust you. Do what you need to do. Obviously, just be careful and whatnot. And then later on, I take a nap or whatever. And then I wake up. And I text my friends. Obviously, I get like a bunch of texts because this thing went like super fucking viral. I don't think you'll understand.
Well, honestly, the people listening to this podcast were paying attention.
Yeah. The thing went super viral. And I'm getting like a bunch of texts. And I text my friends that I'm going to go public. And my friend was, here's the thing. I was like kind of used to that, especially after the book came. There was a book came out. They should talk to me, whatever. It's fine. Fuck you, Walter Isaacson.
Yeah, fuck you, Walter Isaacson.
That was direct. And my friend also, I think everyone has that one friend where they get, because like I'm used to this shit. She wasn't. She was so much angrier than I was about the whole situation. Because I was like null and void to it. And I was like, I'm going public. And she was like, oh my God, bitch, fuck yes. I'm so excited for you. You better eat him alive. And I was like, I will do my best. Mm-hmm. And then I did my best. And then Jamie Lee Curtis followed me. That's the story of how it happened.
Prior to that, I mean, you had always lived a private life.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
And
I had like no socials.
Yeah.
My socials were all like private.
I mean, it feels like the privacy was almost kind of taken from you.
I don't know if it was necessarily taken from me because I chose to respond.
Yeah.
And when I chose to respond, I knew what I was getting into. And even then, I could have done the Threads post and then disappeared back into the wind. And I didn't.
Yeah.
That's my choice. So I'm not going to say it was taken from me. I was given a choice and I chose.
You said a second ago to me that your response actually went more viral than the initial like
it
podcast
did, yes.
clip. And how was that?
Validating.
Yeah.
Very valid. That was the moment I realized, oh fuck, I actually do have a voice.
Yeah.
Because before that, I kind of was just like, I felt so powerless. Also, I had all this like pent up emotion, obviously from childhood and life and whatever. And it was literally probably the most cathartic moment of my entire life doing that.
That's really amazing to hear because I feel like I would imagine it could have been like super overwhelming and it probably was, but it was like
but it was also like very exciting. It was like a whole new world. It was very Jasmine.
Did you anticipate the level of support?
Honestly, no. I thought there would be a lot more backlash than there was. Obviously, the conservatives hate me, but I don't give a fuck what they think. So, girl.
It's easy to compartmentalize when conservatives hate you, I feel like. Like, for me, it's like, once you get called a faggot once, like, you've gotten called a faggot 1,000 times.
Once you get called an HGP once. Once you get called an HSTS brick hunt or whatever the fuck. Once you get called. This is like crazy 4chan lingo that my ex had to explain to me what an AGP BrickHun was.
I have literally no idea.
And an HSTS passoid. Because so people were calling me these things. And I was like, I have no, like, she told me that people were calling me this. I was like, I looked at her. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Okay. So apparently, here's the thing. I knew what passoid was. I did not know what any of the other ones was. Passoid it's like the most 4chan shit imaginable.
Yeah.
4chan has the LGBT board, the TTT one, TTTTT.
Okay.
And what it is, it's a bunch of like lonely conservative trans femmes in the closet who find the most obnoxious possible way to talk about literally everything regarding the trans experience. They call people who pass passoids as a derogatory term. They're like, also 4chan is like obsessed with passing. Like kind of the entire trans internet is obsessed with passing because it's like a reasonable thing to be obsessed about, especially when safety is in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like it's when the slur that someone calls you is so like
insane.
Rooted in terminally online culture that you don't even know what they're calling you. It's like that's kind of the read in and of itself.
Yeah. It's like you think you ate that, but the only thing you ate was yourself. What the fuck?
Yeah. No, that's quite yeah.
Yeah, the only thing you ate was yourself.
Were you ever scared
of
to make your voice so public?
Oh yeah. I was definitely scared.
Yeah.
But like it got to a point where it's like I don't really have anything to lose. My reputation had been dragged so far through the mud, and I was used as like an example of why trans kids should not exist, basically. And I was like, literally at this point, there's nowhere to go but up. Because I was used as that scapegoat for so long, like in the book. And I keep calling it the book, in the biography, in conservative culture in general, whenever anyone would talk about me. Because for those of you who don't know, I got my core document, my name change core documents leaked in 2022. And again, they used that as another example of like how I'm like, I don't know, fucking bonkers, which I am fucking bonkers. But not in that way.
Not in the way that they accuse you of being. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just a quick break from the episode to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Factor. Lately, between making this podcast and doing live shows for this podcast, which I'm currently touring around for, and making stuff for social media, and trying to sneak in a little bit of extra time just to take care of myself, I honestly haven't had that much time for anything else. #girlboss. #ye-they-boss. One super helpful way for me to tastefully, no pun intended, cut corners is with Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service with chef-made gourmet meals that are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. With Factor, there are a bunch of different meal options that you can try for all of your dietary needs. I personally go for Protein Plus. If you, like me, are a closeted gym rat, then that might be a good option for you. Protein Plus has so many high protein options that are way yummier than, unseasoned grilled chicken and rice every single day. No shade to people who love to meal prep. If you too would like to tastefully cut some corners and make eating at home a more varied and less laborious experience, you should try Factor. You can get started at factormeals.com/fruity50off for 50% off your first box and free shipping. That's factormeals.com/fruity50off. Thank you so much to Factor. And now let's get back to the episode. So you just celebrated 5 years of coming out?
I did. I came out.
Congratulations.
I came out May 5th, 2020. I think it was May 5th or 6th. I don't remember which one.
Happy 5. Happy
yeah,
5.
Thank you.
What was your coming out like?
Okay. It was the cringiest coming out I think I've ever heard of in history. Like, I posted to my Insta story one of those, those like extreme close up, like I call them like crack shots of like your face.
Okay.
For like the memes. Kind of like the 0.5 thing, but it was like
Sure.
Yeah. It was literally just like a close up of like my face making like a funny face, being cringe and shit. And I had it, "Hi everyone, I'm trans, she, her pronouns." And then at the bottom left, I was like, because I didn't want to make it a whole thing, and I wanted people to be able to talk to me about something other than that. So maybe if I mentioned something else, they would grasp onto that, and then the conversation would be less awkward. My dumbass thought that less awkward meant talking about the Hunger Games.
Okay.
So I also said, "Are you Team PETA or Team?"
You're like, I
fucking just turned 16. Okay, give me a fucking break.
You're like, I'm transgender. What does everyone think about the Hunger Games?
Sure. Maybe I am.
I love the strategy there. I wish I could have been in your 16-year-old brain at the point in which you were strategizing, like, how do I make my coming out less about coming out and more about, like, PETA?
I was like, how do I destroy my social reputation even more? I mean, I didn't. Obviously, being trans was relatively fun. It was Los Angeles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you grew up in LA.
Yeah, I did. I'm from LA.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, how do I make everyone think I'm even more of a nerdy shut-in than everyone already does? No, I was like not popular at all in high school. I like very much, I kept to myself. I was that girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how was coming out?
It was cool. I posted on my Insta story and then people were like, okay. And then
yeah. Was it like fine in your personal life, like until the media came along?
Other than the obvious, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was some struggle. There were some people who struggled to get used to it, but like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. You brought up something about like being basically like turned into a pawn, where it's like when conservatives want to talk about trans people, they talk about you.
I was definitely one of the pawns that they used when they wanted to talk about like why trans kids or like brainwashed or whatever the fuck, because of the woke mind virus.
Love the woke mind virus. I love the woke mind virus.
It's a real virus.
It's among my favorite viruses.
It's among our favorite viruses.
But something that I think so much about and that we get to touch on sometimes on this podcast is the way that like we as culture, from sort of all sides politically, turn people, like human beings, into pawns, into symbols of bigger conversations that like may or may not really have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
And like I think about it, I mean, I always find ways to talk about Britney Spears, but like we continue to do this with Britney Spears. I mean, 20 years ago, we did it with Britney Spears regarding like, we wanted to talk about conversations of like young womanhood and sexuality. And we would project all of those complicated things onto Britney Spears, who is like an 18-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And now we talk about like mental health and disability rights through the body of Britney Spears. Britney Spears tangent over. I just have to slip it in there. I also think about that in the context of like another thing that I've talked about a lot on this podcast, which was like the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light scandal.
Oh my God. I feel so bad. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That was one of the things that fucking horrified me about like potentially becoming famous is I saw that and literally like the first few weeks of becoming famous, the only thing I could think of was like, that could be me someday.
Like, are they gonna Dylan Mulvaney me?
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, well, I'm pretty high up on the list of trans people who conservatives don't like. I think I'm at least in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, that might happen to me one day.
But you don't feel like it has?
Not yet. I don't feel like it has.
It's cool and it's pretty like fascinating how you're able to, because obviously people have said crazy shit, but it seems like you're able to compartmentalize it really well.
Yeah, you just push it deep down. But I will say, there's one thing I want to talk about in the hate comments. When conservative call me like a tranny and a faggot and whatever, I can say that right.
Of course.
When they call me a tranny and a female and a faggot and other source, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't care. But then when like a leftist says, like, I saw like a leftist saying like, I find her obnoxious. That one actually kind of hurt because I'm like, I value your opinion,
girl,
and I am obnoxious, but you don't need to call me that.
Oh my gosh, I would love to just like talk about like dealing with different types of hate comments because it's so. I feel like we were talking about how it's like once you've been called a faggot or some slur once by a conservative, it's like it doesn't hit anymore.
No, it doesn't.
It's like, oh, you're like, I know how that feels, tick. Yeah. And like these people, of course they hate me. It's like, who cares? Yeah. But when you get it from people who you think are on your own like
it hurts a lot more.
And it might be like a way lesser insult.
Yeah.
But it's from someone who you think should like you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my experience.
That's my experience as well. No, that's very true.
It's 100% so hard.
Go behind that.
I remember I used to talk to my therapist about that. I was like, but they're on my side. They're on my side and they're like making TikToks about me or whatever. And she was like, but if they're talking about you that way, then maybe they're not really like as on your side as you think they are.
Yeah. There's always going to be someone like who doesn't like you. And I did see a TikTok about me by someone who was like, I don't think we should trust her because they're like, is she doing like a psyop? Is this like all fake? And I'm like, bitch, I did not lose like down to my fucking health insurance and cell plan just to be like a fake tranny on the internet. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know.
People are also, I mean, people are so many people are just desperate to like have a conspiracy about the world. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
no, I'm like, I think there is actually like a lot less conspiracy than people think, which is kind of like a boring answer, but like it's kind of, I feel like a lot of things are less intentional than people think, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the moon landing was fake. Okay.
We're keeping an open mind.
It was done with lasers or whatever the fuck. They had Quentin Tarantino. Was
Jewish space lasers.
That's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, but I'm Jewish.
Oh.
Oh my God. They're going to clip that and be like, oh God. Oh God. I do it to myself. I do not actually believe the moon landing was fake, for the fucking record. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I don't believe the space lasers were Jewish.
Who made the space lasers, Matt? Who made them?
The Italians.
Are you Italian?
Nope.
Sorry, you're offending a group.
That was some strong anti-Italian X sentiment on the A Bit Fruity podcast. Sorry. But people being turned into symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's something I think about. Sorry, I'm going to say that. People being turned into symbols. Like...
They're being turned into symbols?
People being turned into symbols.
But they're being turned... Are they being turned into symbols or not, Matt? People being turned into symbols. People being turned into symbols. What symbols are they being turned into?
Okay, breathe. This is the recording process. There's always this.
Did you know something?
People being turned into symbols.
People are being turned into symbols. The symbols, mama, they're being turned into.
Speaking of people being turned into symbols, it kind of, I feel like, happens from every direction. And I was going through your Threads account when I was writing down some notes that I wanted to bring up when I got to talk to you.
Is this from my angsty early famous posting days?
How early was a month ago?
I'm being exposed. How early was a month ago? You shady bitch.
You wrote something that I thought was really interesting. You basically wrote that people like on the left were referring to you as some sort of like Katniss Everdeen heroic rebel figure. And so what I find interesting about the like kind of reducing people into like these pawns in culture wars and stuff is that, you know, people who hate you will turn you into like a cartoon villain.
Yeah.
And then the people who are kind of claiming you for their side will turn you into like a cartoon martyr.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because like either way is just you're being, I don't know if strawmanned is the right word, but you're being like exaggerated. And there's a sense of connecting dots that don't exist in order to like fulfill this narrative. This is just a lot of fucking buzzwords. Okay. You're kind of just turned into like a straw man on either side, which is not great. Also, the martyr shit is really weird because I'm like, I'm still alive. Why are you turning me into a martyr? I don't get that. That's like something I did not expect. But it's definitely something I've seen.
It's like at the heart of all these conversations that are so much bigger than you. It's just like this like 21-year-old person.
Yeah. I'm just like a 21-year-old bitchy nerd.
What do you want now that you're being out in public and all that? Like, what do you want people to know from you, like the person, not you, the symbol?
What I want people to know about me is under the genuinely insane amount of random cultural references that I make and all this obnoxiousness and Rapunzel hair, I'm just a human being with a soul. I'm just kidding. I got my soul surgically removed. So, yeah.
That's the gender surgeries they've been talking about. It's the soul removal.
They demurify your soul.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. They take your soul, they make it more demure, and then they give it back to you. In my case, it turned out it was a scam.
Oh, sure.
So they just took it and they never gave it back.
Okay, I'm going to pull another post of yours.
Oh, wow.
You posted on Threads that people should stop shipping you with Barron Trump.
There is an AO3 fan fiction featuring me and Barron Trump.
That is so horrifying.
I think it was after I made the post. I'm not sure. I'd have to check the dates.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of crazy shit about yourself, but I'm specifically so sorry about that one.
That one is really funny, though. Don't do it, but it is funny. Not happening.
What?
Absolutely not.
What
that
is...
twink? Never. Is he a twink? He's like 6'4".
Barron Trump is... Can you be like a I don't know, like a fascist child and a twink? Maybe.
Yes. Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo Yiannopoulos. He is a fascist child twink. What is some of the craziest like shit that you've seen about yourself?
Okay, I've seen some really funny shit. The funniest one I think I've seen, I posted this on Threads, was someone attributed my lore, or I'm just going to call it my lore because so I don't have to go into depth every single time.
Sure.
Someone attributed my lore to my astrological sign to explain my behavior in like a critical way because they were conservative. But they also got the astrological sign wrong because they got my wrong birthday.
What, they were like, she's trans because of her sign?
Yeah.
Okay, what sign are you?
I'm an Aries.
Okay. And
I think they got the Aries part right, but they attributed it to my rising.
Okay.
And it was a different rising.
Okay.
I think my rising is Aries or Cancer.
So
but they said like
horoscopes are making people trans now.
Yeah.
I wish.
That's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. That was like the funniest thing I've ever gone.
Do you ever feel like you're just like hallucinating when you see like just stupid shit about yourself?
Yes, all the time.
And like, like these people live in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I see a lot of people who like go out of their way to make fake accounts of me. I'm like, oh, am I that interesting? Like a lot of conservatives also. I've seen a lot of people go on Twitter, try to make an account under like my name and use one of my pictures for their profile thing and say, the media has it all wrong. I love that. And it's obviously in a way I would never type. And usually it's like ChatGPT or some shit. But like it's the most wild shit I've ever seen.
Are they like, I'm a cis girl. I'm actually a cis girl and like everything's fine.
No, they don't think I'm a cis. Obviously, my transition is like documented, so they can't say I'm a cis girl. They were like,
sure.
I'm like, sorry, I made a mistake. And I made no mistakes.
No.
I've made zero mistakes and I have zero remorse.
This would not be an episode of A Bit Fruity if I did not give some lashings to conservative LGBT people.
Oh, God. Let's go at it.
The first episode I ever did of this podcast was actually about
shit talking.
It was. You're
I'm
about
ready.
to find out.
Is it? I have a guess.
Who's your guess?
My guess is Kaylin Conrad just made like a 2-hour documentary about Brianna Wu. So is it Brianna Wu?
No, it's not Brianna Wu.
Oh, who is it?
The first episode of this podcast that I ever did was with Natalie Wynn, who we both love.
I love her.
And it was about LGBT conservatives. And as I was scrolling some things that you've posted, you gave some very, I think, well-deserved lashings to trans conservative YouTuber Blair White.
Oh.
Which
being messy. I see.
I mean, I'm not being messy.
She came for me first.
What did she say?
This was like in 2022 when the only thing that was public about me was the court document that was released and what was said about me in the book. That was all anyone knew about me. And she attributed the fact that I was trans to the fact that my high school had a cross-dressing day, which was news to me. And I hadn't, because I was like, I had literally never heard of this or remembered it. Like maybe it happened that I just wasn't paying attention and was absent that day.
Sounds fabulous.
But apparently they stopped it the year before I entered the school.
Okay.
So never even happened. And that's not how people become trans. And she knows that.
Why do you think someone like Blair White is so desperate? Yeah.
She makes a fuck ton of money in sponsorships and like YouTube ads. I keep fucking with the table. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's money.
Correct. And like attention. I do think she genuinely believes what she says, though.
You do.
Maybe like a slightly less exaggerated version. But like, I mean, I know there are a bunch of like hosts of like Fox News that are like apparently liberal behind the scenes, allegedly, which I'm not sure if I believe.
Yeah. I mean, my take with that kind of stuff is it's like, it actually doesn't even matter if they really believe it or not.
It doesn't.
What matters is
what they say.
Is the result of the of the product they put out in the world. And like, whether or not you go home and you're like, I'm actually nice behind the scenes, it's like, it doesn't matter because you're not nice in front of the scenes.
Yeah. Because regardless of what they actually think, the product is the product. And the product is working as intended.
Fucking Blair White. She is so interesting to me. I mean, she's not that interesting because like you said, it's like once you're making money from that sort of speech, it's like, okay, well, you're just going to do it as long as it's making money.
Yeah.
But
she's gone progressively further right as she's going to. Also, fuck you, Blair White. I want to get that out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck Blair White. Fuck LGBT conservatives. It's a fixation that I have because I'm just like,
how?
And like you said, it's like once they're making money from it.
But there are like LGBT conservatives who are also like not making money.
That's the thing. And I'm like, it's just, so much self-hatred. Again.
Maybe it's like delusion. Like they genuinely think that these people like actually tolerate them. It's like, no, they don't, babes.
I think it is a lot of delusion. And it's like this optimism about like, no, I'm one of the good ones. I promise I'm one of the good ones, but they'll never see you that way.
There's like a desperation from validation because like if someone says, Natalie Wynn actually talked about this, if someone says something negative about you, you might be more inclined to believe it's true. And conservatives say, negative shit about the gays and the trannies all the time. I literally just said trannies. The gays and the trans people all the time. The gays and the gays.
You can say it. I can't.
The gay.
It's your microphone.
I prove a good point. Okay, I don't want to be accidentally. People are mad at me that I say the word trannies a lot, but
I mean,
I think it's really funny.
That is not my cross to
Blair
bear.
White also says trans. Does she? I think.
Probably, but she probably means it negatively.
If someone says something negative about you, especially in regards to your trans identity, because obviously, especially when starting out, you're kind of desperate for anyone to perceive you as what you perceive yourself as. Mm-hmm. And you might be going to like really negative places and going to depths that you shouldn't be going to in search for validation, even if it's fake. And I think that might be kind of where some LGBT conservatives are at. Obviously, I'm not one, and I'm not like a psychologist or anything, so it's not really correct of me to psychoanalyze an entire group of people. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know, maybe that has something to do with something.
A quick break from the episode to give a shout out to Blueland. Blueland was the first sponsor this podcast ever had when it was hardly even a podcast, and we are still going strong, so I haven't pissed them off too much yet. I like for my apartment to look nice. Moreover, I like the things that I use to make my apartment look nice to look nice. When you live in New York City, you get used to living in very small spaces, and it gets very easy for clutter to make itself very known. And bottles of cleaning supplies lying around everywhere with, frankly, garish neon tones, kind of an eyesore, at least for me. I care a lot about what my home looks like all the time, and I'm a stickler about these things. Blueland is a line of sustainable home cleaning products on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials that are better for you and the planet. And they look really great, which I know is not really the point, but they do. All you do with Blueland is buy one of their Forever bottles, beautifully and functionally designed. You fill it with water and you pop in a tablet of whatever cleaning solution you bought, whether that's mirror cleaner, multi-purpose cleaner, hand soap, you name it, and you're set. And when you run out of your cleaning solution, all you have to do is pop in a refill tablet, fill the bottle back up with water, and you're ready to go again. And those refill tablets start for as low as $2.25. So not only better on the planet, but easier on your wallet. If you'd like to try Blueland, you can head over to blueland.com/fruity for 15% off your first order. That is blueland.com/fruity. Thanks so much to Blueland, as always. And now let's get back to the episode.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to be cunty. Jordan Peterson, thank you for making me famous.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I bet you didn't expect that turn of events, bitch. Fucking lobster bitch. Stop trying to fuck the lobsters. They're not interesting. They're not. Mm-mm.
That was good. That was good. That was
Just because your face is red does not mean you should fuck something that is red.
She's got jokes.
Yeah. She's got reads.
Back to...
He looks like his parents got fucked by a lobster.
This is the Jordan Peterson roast. Tell me what else. The floor is yours.
You know, it makes sense that he's obsessed with hierarchies, because I bet in bed he likes to be at the bottom of one.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm calling him submissive.
No, that was good.
I'm going to get fucking canceled.
I mean, everyone listening to this podcast, here's a fun activity. If you're listening to this podcast right now on Spotify, where there's now a comment section, or YouTube.
Spotify has a comment section?
Yeah. Give us your...
I feel like that's a horrible idea.
Probably, but not for this episode, because if you're listening to this, I want you to give us your most creative Jordan B. Peterson lashing.
You like jazz? I feel like he's someone who would pretend to like jazz for like the social esteem.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm a real conservative.
Because like it's like real music.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's one of those people who like secretly listens to like Megan Thee Stallion.
You are 21 years old.
Uh-huh.
Not to do the like... You know what? I will just say, before we started recording, Vivian called me an elder gay.
I did not.
I'm 26.
I did not call you an elder gay. I said you had like the aura of an elder gay. You're not actually an elder gay. You're 26.
I am 26.
Yeah.
But you know
who's an elder gay? Jordan B. Peterson.
She's quick. She's quick.
She's witty. She's sharp.
You know what? I think it's good to be called an elder. Like, it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Every gay talks about this. Like, at some point, you get called an elder gay. It's a Band-Aid that needs to be ripped off. And
Yeah.
I am happy for you to
You're
rip the Band-Aid off.
26.
I'm 26.
You have a while before that Band-Aid gets ripped off, though.
Well, okay. So speaking of, you have even longer ahead of you.
I'm not a gay man.
Well, no, that's not what I mean.
I do not have to experience twin death. No, I want to look like Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Like, that's my goal.
As a 21-year-old, I don't want to be like, what's next for you? But you have literally your life ahead of you. Not to sound like a cliche, but
what do I want to do next? I really, really enjoy modeling. Specifically, I've been doing some photography modeling. And I mean, it sounds vain to say, like, I enjoy modeling, but I do. It's really fun. I really like how you can get, like, really creative with, like, the posing. And I struggle sometimes with, like, serving the correct amount of face. But it's, like, something that I've really been working on trying to improve. And I really, really enjoy modeling. And I don't want to sound vain.
It doesn't sound vain.
Really fucking good at it.
Yeah, you are. We saw the Teen Vogue cover.
Oh, honey, y'all haven't seen shit yet.
Period.
No, because I have some shit that I've seen the photos for, and I'm like, oh.
Ate that up.
The lesbians are gonna get.
The lesbians are gonna
and the gays are gonna get. And the bis, and the trans, and maybe some heterosexuals.
Maybe. That's like kind
the ones who know who I am.
That's like kind of extracurricular, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really care what they think.
Yeah, sorry.
But
we care what metamorphosis thinks.
What were you studying in Japan?
I was studying Japanese language. I wanted to be an English teacher or a translator.
Do you still see that somewhere in your future, or you're pivoting?
I don't know if, obviously I don't think fame is going to last forever, but like I'm using this opportunity to explore different, I sound like a fucking pageant queen again. I'm using this opportunity to explore different career paths that might not have been open to me otherwise and see what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy. And then obviously I still intend on getting a degree. If it's in the same thing, we'll see. But like if fame dies down, then I will continue on the path because I love languages. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be just vibing.
Professionally, Vivian?
Yeah, professionally, Vivian. But like, this is like something that happens to very few people. And I'm very fortunate to be able to get to experience something like this in this life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I should take advantage of this and see if it's something that I want to take even more advantage of because I really enjoy modeling. And that's something that might not have been open to me otherwise. I mean, probably open, but not like sustainable, right?
Sure.
I actually got off the plane in New York and the first thing someone did was like hand me a little card being like, do you have an agent? Do you have a modeling agent? I was like, this is correct.
And if you are a casting director who happens to be listening to this podcast, hire Vivian.
My body is tea. You just can't see it right now because I'm draped in black.
And the hair and the face.
The hair you can't see. Hold on.
You got everything going on. If you work for Pantene and you're listening to this podcast, look at the material.
Look at the material.
Look at the fucking material.
It's organic.
This is a big question maybe, but you know, obviously the climate for LGBT people and for trans people specifically is, you know, I don't need to tell you what it is because we're all living through it.
Hello. And
this is kind of corny, but do you have like a message for trans people now that you're out and have this like kind of huge microphone?
Okay. When Teen Vogue asked me this basically same exact question, I put a contrapoint, so I didn't realize I was quoting a movie that I had never heard of.
Okay.
So to me, it's a quote from Contrapoints, which is like, stay strong, sister, don't let the bastards get you down. Which to me, what that means is like, be confident in yourself and who you are. And don't let other people's perception of who you are affect your own perception of who you are. Because you are valid. And you are that bitch if you want to be that bitch.
Period.
If you don't want to be that bitch,
then you don't have to.
You don't have to be.
Yeah.
But like, don't let other people's perceptions of you affect what you think of who you are, or affect your own perception of who you are. That's my message.
I feel like you have so much authority in telling people to not let the bastards get them down, because the bastards have certainly tried to get you down.
They did not succeed. They only contributed to my rise.
Period. Fucking
now
period.
I'm a trans icon according to Pink News. They called me a trans icon.
Does it feel a little like quick to have that title thrust upon you?
I'm 21 years old.
That's how I felt when you called me a gay elder. I was like,
I called you the spirit of a gay elder, not that you actually were one. Thank you very much.
Well, you're the spirit of a trans icon, so we're even.
Shut the fuck up. You're the spirit of the child cycle. What if
Is that your impression of my voice, my squeaky little voice?
No, your voice is lower than mine. Yeah.
Okay, to wrap it up, I have a couple pop culture questions.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you listen to pop music?
Yeah.
What is your favorite album out recently?
Bitch, I don't know jack shit about albums. You know how Beyonce was like, artists don't release albums anymore. I never paid attention to. I am part of the problem because I never actually paid attention to what was on what album.
Okay, fair enough. What music are you listening to?
A lot of K-pop and a lot of like pop.
Have you been following the Blackpink solo releases?
Oh, girl.
I love Jennie.
You should not say that on camera right now. Do you know the scandal?
No.
She said the N-word. There's a video of Blackpink saying the N-word. All three of them, except for Jisoo.
I love Jisoo. She's my favorite from Blackpink.
You're done. She actually was my favorite from Blackpink, so that hasn't changed.
Well, and she did release a really good single, Earthquake, that I was listening to.
I haven't heard that one. I love Flower. Flower is my favorite. I am a basic bitch. Flower is my favorite song.
Okay, speaking of pop music, thoughts on Katy Perry going to space?
Okay.
Some of this podcast has been heavy. I want to lighten it up a little bit.
My thoughts on Katy Perry going to space. It's, it's a woman's world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kept spinning, regardless as to whether or not she was on it for 5 minutes.
Mm.
And then she came back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's fucking brutal. Katy Perry is like and I don't say this with spite, but she's a deeply like millennial figure.
Oh, the most.
She's like, it's very
You know what's little?
I just did a thing.
I thought Roar came out in 1999. I didn't realize it was 2013.
Okay, now you're making me feel like a gay elder.
You're like 5 years older than me. Calm down.
Yeah, but
we're actually born in 1999.
I was born in 98.
I was born in 2004.
You thought Roar came out in 1999?
Yeah.
You are you are the big Drag Race fan.
I am a encyclopedia of Drag Race knowledge.
In fact, Vivian and I have hung out 3 times this weekend.
Literally, completely by accident. I didn't even know I was doing this. I was like, I came to New York. We were both at the same function. And then we were both at the Drag Race.
The All-Stars
10
premiere party.
Yeah. And now we're here. So this is the 3rd time. This is just like fate keeps pushing us into a room together.
You could only avoid me for so long.
I think it's vice versa.
Yeah. I am so thrilled. I'm so thrilled.
I'm so thrilled.
On the day of our recording this, it is the premiere of All Stars 10.
Yes.
Who are you rooting for to go all the way?
Here's the thing. I have multiple of their numbers. So if I say someone in particular, the others are going to be mad. I don't know if they care that much. But I feel like the politically correct answer for me to say is I am rooting for all my dolls. All the trans representation on this season. Aja, Bosco, Carrie, Colby. There's so much talent on this season. And there's so many just like iconic figures, not only from like Drag Race itself, but also just like in pop culture in general, especially what they've done like outside of the show. Like Mistress has really exceeded outside of the show. Aja has become such a like this huge name in ballroom. And it's just like really, it warms my heart to see our Drag Race girls killing it.
The dolls.
Yeah, the dolls. Mistress is not trans.
Mistress is not trans.
No. She is a cis man.
We're transvestigating Mistress Isabel Brooks on the A Bit Pretty podcast.
We're fucking done. Did you see they transvestigated the Pope? The new one?
They're transvestigating the Pope?
They literally were like, she is a trans man. And I'm like, baby, I want whatever you're smoking.
No way.
Yeah.
You can't even be the Pope anymore without being transvestigated.
People have transvestigated me. And I'm obviously a demure cis woman. On the topic of like hate comments that we've received, one of the most memorable ones was my very first TikTok. I did this like kick onto a table because I thought I was like so cunty and I was like feeling it. You got like 20 million views on Twitter. Thank you to whatever conservative posted that on Twitter with my dead name because you basically made my TikTok career. So we stay winning regardless. It was like kicking my leg up onto the table being like, I'm not just a bitch, I'm a bitch with a backstory. And someone froze the frame where my leg was the highest in the air and then circled a line of fabric that they thought was my dick and said, I found it.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. In red too. It was very YouTuber.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It was so funny.
You laugh it off.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny.
That is fucking
I live.
crazy. I mean, people are psychopaths.
It wasn't my dick. I mean, they thought my dick was like enormous. Like that, they like, because I don't think they realized how tall I was. the thing in the red circle that was like a line of fabric, that thing was like 12 inches. Like,
It's
baby,
crazy.
no.
People are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Can I end on sort of a cheesy pageant question?
Yes.
Given everything,
Mm-hmm.
personally, politically, nationally,
Yeah.
what is something that's giving you hope and joy right now?
The symbol.
Fuck off.
What's giving me joy is because I am a trans icon. And when I am crowned a trans icon, I will fight hard for world peace. Okay, I need to stop just referencing all the brain rot that this podcast has given me. What's something that's giving me energy? Something that's giving me life is drag. I love drag. I love drag.
We do love drag.
Yeah. I'm going back to LA and I'm going to make it my mission to see like as many drag shows as possible.
Vivian Jenna Wilson, thank you for being here on the A Bit Fruity podcast.
Thank you for having me on the A Bit Fruity podcast.
Before we go, where can people find you and where can people hire you?
I'm distracted by the fact that you're posing like a flamingo.
Okay, you know what? You sit in these chairs for long enough and it gets weird.
No, it's very like
Where,
it hurts every bone.
where can
every it was deafening. I heard every single thing in your knee just pop. It sounded like a fucking Crunch bar. Like those chocolate things with like the Rice Krispies inside.
Sure.
Like when you crunch down on one.
Yeah.
That's what it was giving.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you?
My TikTok is Vivlanous. My Instagram is also Vivlanous. And it's like the word villainous, but with a Viv at the front because I'm very clever.
Do you wanna give like a pageant goodbye to the camera?
Honorary judges and members of the esteemed panel, this is Vivian Wilson hailing from the Golden State of California. Thank you so much for your time. Mwah.
That was really fucking impressive.
Yeah. It only took me like 8 tries.
And that was my morning conversation with Vivian Jenna Wilson. It is a hard time to be a 21-year-old girl. It is a hard time to be transgender. It is, I imagine, a hard time to have that person be your father. And it was just a real joy getting to know Vivian as Vivian, not as a pawn in a culture war or a conversation that is about so much more than her, but just as her, a 21-year-old person. I hope you enjoyed getting to sit down with her as much as I did. I hope you don't mind that this week we took a break from all of the, hardcore internet analysis deep dives to just talk to someone who so often gets spoken for, especially by people who don't have her best interest at heart, and just give her the mic to speak for herself. I love you so much. Thanks for listening today, and until next time, stay fruity.